Do not be afraid and do not fear are the most used commands in the Bible. And consequently, fear and anxiety are some of the more common issues that you will deal with in counseling. One reason why this command is given is because we live in a sinful and fearful world. Romans 8 talks about how, as a result of sin, this world is subject to futility and corruption. And we see this in things like natural disasters, physical suffering, death, and decay that is all around us. We are also fearful people. God has made us vulnerable and dependent, and that is not a position we like to be in because it forces us to trust in Him, realizing that He is in control, and we have difficulty doing that because we want to be in control. Fear, worry, and anxiety seeks to take control from God, thinking that we can handle things better on our own, and when we find out we do not have control, then we worry. This is why it is important for us as a counselor to understand fear and anxiety biblically and how you can help people who struggle in this area. Like anger, fear, worry, and anxiety reveal the orientation of our heart and what our heart truly treasures. What this means is that what someone fears is often connected to what they love. If someone fears poverty, then most likely there is a love of money. If someone fears illness and death, most likely there is a love of health and a desire to be free from suffering. If someone fears rejection, usually that person loves relationships and has a strong desire for approval. All of this can be used to show where a person no longer loves the Lord as they should. And so the job of the counselor is to help that person return to a love of and trust in the Lord. When it comes to terms to define, the study guide suggests that you give definitions of anxiety and fear. I would add a third, worry, as another term that you should discuss. While there are some nuances between these words in English, the Bible seems to use these words interchangeably as a result of some form of lack of trust in the Lord. It would also be good for you to discuss the differences between sinful anxiety and godly concern. Stuart Scott has a helpful book entitled Anger, Anxiety, and Fear, where he provides good descriptions of these matters. Some good biblical passages to talk about in your answer include ones like Matthew 6, verses 25 through 34, which is a significant teaching from Jesus where he commands us not to be anxious, but points us to how we can trust the Lord to provide what we need. Philippians 4, verses 4 through 9 is another passage that says we are to be anxious for nothing as we give our requests to God, and the peace of God that comes from the God of peace will be given to us. 1 Peter 5, verse 7 is another key passage that talks about how we are to cast our anxieties on Him, for He cares for us, which is a great passage to remind people that God can and does care better for us than we can care for ourselves. There are other passages listed in the study guide, and all of the books and articles listed as resources provide numerous other passages that can help you understand this topic, so I highly recommend that you look at those resources. When it comes to answering this question, a good outline for your answer would include these elements. First, that you would provide a good biblical definition of fear, worry, and anxiety. Again, the resources from Stuart Scott and Robert Jones will be helpful here. Second, you should include a description of the manifestations of anxiety and worry in both the inner man and the outer man. The resources from Jay Adams and Ed Welch will be helpful in finding out what those manifestations look like. Third, discuss the biblical factors that drive anxiety and fear. This is where an explanation of Matthew 6 would be good, as you show that one of the main internal factors of anxiety is a lack of trust in God. But you should also talk about how external factors can also tempt believers towards anxiety. The psalmist talks about being in trouble and in distress, and there are multiple situations in life that can provoke sinful, fearful responses. Things like physical suffering, financial pressures, being sinned against, or dangerous circumstances. Last, you should discuss several biblical strategies that you would suggest to help counselees respond biblically to fear and anxiety. One main action would be to confess and repent of sinful worry and anxiety, which includes repenting of the idolatrous treasures of the heart that lead one to building one's life on something other than the Lord. Once sin is repented of, then there needs to be the return back to the Lord and seeking to love Him and fear Him above all else, trusting Him and in His promises and provisions.